Hey folks, welcome to ADSR. I'm Stephen Ellestad. Make sure you subscribe to the ADSR YouTube channel and follow on social media for great production content. In this tutorial, I wanted to take a quick look at tempo stretching and how we can use Maschine Sampler to adjust the timing of loops or slices or what have you. And it's a really simple process, especially if we just load something up on a pad. We have all kinds of options both to bring things into tempo correctly or to actually manipulate things in an interesting way to get things, say, at halftime or double time, introduce interesting digital artifacts that we can kind of mangle even further. There's a lot of really cool things we can do there. To get started, I've just loaded up a basic simple beat. I think that's a cool beat, but I'd like to bring it up a little faster. To do that, it's real simple. We're just going to go into sampling mode. If we're in the software, we're just going to go over here. And we're going to set our recording source to internal if we want to do any chopping, but for the most part, we just want to work in the edit function. We're in the stretch mode here. We have a couple of different options. And there's a whole variety of things we can do. It's not just stretch. We can truncate, we can normalize, reverse. Cool stuff we can do here, fade in, fade out. But for this, we're just looking at the stretch function. And the cool thing about this is we can have it actually adjust tuning if we need to. Say we know it's in E flat and the rest of our track's in E, we can just tune it up 1/2 step. We can adjust our formants. And here we can choose our mode. We generally want to be in beat mode for rhythmic content, and maybe in free mode for things that are less transient based. The most important thing we're looking at here is our source BPM of 78, our new BPM, I chose 93. I think that's a good starting point. And all we have to do at this point is just hit apply. And if we're on the hardware, it's just going to be settings, source BPM 78, new BPM 93 for 4 bars, and just hit apply. Now we can listen to it and we're up to a nice tight 93 BPM. And so you can see we come out of sampling mode and now we've got that gone ahead and converted it over. So we're at the proper tempo now. If we come over to something like this, here we have a couple of really cool parts in there, I think. So let's give this a listen and see what happens. We hit apply. And I think we can work with that, especially if we go into step mode. And let's just go ahead and lay down at fixed velocity, both of those, and see how they line up. Yeah, I think I can work with that. So that's a pretty cool way of doing it. So the other neat thing we can do here with tempo stretching though, and here I've got a different part entirely. In fact, we'll solo this channel out. And the first thing I want to do is get it into the proper time. Again, it's obviously need to line up against that 93 BPM, but it might be fun to distort this a little bit. And so our source BPM is 124 with a new of 93, and say instead of going to 4 bars where everything else is at that tempo, maybe we can try it at 2 bars, and this will give it a totally different feel. That's because we effectively created it in double time, because we went from 4 bars at that tempo to 2 bars at that tempo. And likewise, if we want to come in here and make it even longer, we just go ahead and put it to 8 bars. But that might give us some interesting things to chop up, especially if we want to get real weird with it. Even that, however, we can go longer than that. We can go in bars triplets. And so maybe we can say 2 bars triplets and see how that sounds. And it can get pretty weird. but it's going to be in time. Those triplet pulses are still going to be hitting our main rhythm points. So we can stretch it to different multiples of the time as well as just a particular tempo. And that gives us some flexibility when we're doing our tempo stretching. So I hope that gives you some ideas on ways you can approach tempo stretching and manipulation. There's a lot of cool fun things we can do there, especially if we then create some chops and start mangling them with effects and whatnot. But really easy to get everything in a way that does play together quite nicely. And so let me put this in step mode as well, and we'll turn that sound down. Let's go ahead and put this one in at 2 bars and see what that sounds like. Cool. Now I'll unsolo that. You can see everything's all lined up. Lots of ways you can go with that creatively. So I hope you got something good out of this. I'm Stephen Ellestad for ADSR. Make sure you subscribe to the ADSR YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Take care.